morning, children. I brought something special today, and I want to tell you about what I brought. The prophet said to plant a garden, so that's what we'll do. For God has given rich brown soil, the rain and sunshine too. And if we plant the seeds just right and tend them carefully, before we know, good things will grow to feed our family. This week we are studying the word of wisdom, and part of that is all the good and wonderful things we get to eat and take care of our bodies. And so I thought, what a perfect time to bring in my garden. I planted some things this morning and they are ready to harvest. So will you help me harvest my garden? Look up here at these pictures. I planted some seeds this morning, but in my garden, things look a little different. So as we pick something from here, I'm going to see if we can match it to the seed that it came from. So teachers, if you could do me a favor, and as we're singing, look for a super singer. A super singer is doing their best, paying attention, and I'm going to call on a class, and then you'll just be ready with a super singer when I call on you. All right, so our first one, remember we've been working on Seek the Lord Early. We're just going to sing the first phrase 5 times. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth. Can you sing with me? Again. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth. Again. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth. Again. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth. All right, last chance for a super singer. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth. All right, Henrys, can you send up a super singer? So someone will come up, and then a child will mix around in here, and let's say, a cucumber. Yeah, what's this? Cucumber, good job. All right, so I harvested it looking like this, but what did I plant this morning? Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what the seed of a cucumber looks like? If you picked this one, you're right. Good job. Okay, let's sing the next phrase 5 times. So, I'll seek the Lord while in my youth, and he will help me to know the truth. And we sing it, and then probably on the 5th time I say, okay, freeze. Now for the 5th time, the last time, we're going to start from the beginning. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth, and he will help me to know the truth. And then I go to the next class, they pick a super singer, that person comes up, searches for something. Tuna fish. Did I plant tuna fish in my garden? Is there a tuna fish seed? Oh, that's silly. I guess it's only in my magic garden. But remember, we can eat lots of different things that are good for our bodies that we learned about in the Word of Wisdom. But this is my silly answer. And I forgot, I warned them in the beginning. I had some silly answers in here too. The first time I did this, I did not do any silly ones. This is my 3rd year doing it, and so I wanted to add some variety. And so then we'll sing the next phrase, repeat it, get another super singer. So we just had lots of turns, and then here was a pepper, a bell pepper. What do the seeds look like? That's this one, very good. And then we do the next phrase, sing it 5 times, get another super singer. And for junior primary, I just put a small chair behind the table. I had this on a table, and I put the small chair here so they could stand up and reach and still have everyone be able to see. Let's see if I can find it. An onion. What does an onion seed look like? This was really hard for everyone. But the answer is this one. Isn't that amazing? How something can start as something small and black and grow into this. So much change. We change too as we grow. Then we do the next phrase, sing it 5 times, pick a super singer. A potato. This is the fun one. Who can find the seed for the potato? Pick that one? Yeah, it's a potato. So potatoes don't come from tiny seeds. You can actually grow a potato from a potato. So this is an example of something that doesn't change a lot. Some things remain the same when we grow it. then they dig again, do another phrase, and they get an apple. What does an apple seed look like? That's this one. Very good. And by this time, I was ready to move on to a new song because that had taken quite a while. And so I would just pick a super singer and have them come up in between the next song. My goal was to find an egg. I'm like, did I get an egg in my garden? Do eggs come from gardens? That's a silly answer. But we're going to use our eggs for our next song. And then we did Follow the Prophet. And so for Follow the Prophet, I have them use a shaky egg for the chorus. And I believe that is in one of my other videos. If you search Follow the Prophet, you can find my pattern for the shaky egg. And for senior primary, I actually, in truth, I forgot my shaky eggs today. And so we had to improvise a little bit. In junior primary, we just clapped and did hand motions for the chorus. And in senior primary, we did the sign language. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet, don't go astray. Follow the prophet, follow the prophet, follow the prophet. And then do, he knows the way. So the ASL is two thumbs, following. And then prophet, it's someone who sees the future, can see a distance. And this is person. So a person who sees the future, prophet. All right, and then what else do we have in here? We'll pick a super singer to come up. Milk? Do I grow milk in my garden? That's pretty silly too. And our last song, so for this, teachers, please hand out 2 sticks to each of the children. 10 seconds. And for my junior primary, I had them do little shish kebab sticks that I cut in half just because I had them. And I was already using shaky eggs, and so I didn't want lots of manipulatives for them to have, but you can just use rhythm sticks too. I used rhythm sticks. I used large ones so they could see me. Can you tap? Very good. Faith is knowing the sun will rise. Freeze. I'm going to add an action. Okay, so we're going to tap, and then we're going to do a sun will rise. Faith is knowing the sun will rise. Freeze. Now, another action, you're going to put your elbow on your hand and bring it down like this. This is a sign language for day. Faith is knowing the sun will rise, lighting each new day. Faith is knowing the Lord will hear. Can you point to your ears? My prayers each time I pray. Now for seed, in the next phrase, we're going to point to the ground. That's a little. So we're going to point to the ground for seed. Faith is like a little seed. If planted, it will grow. Faith is a swelling within my heart. You can point to your heart, or you could even draw a heart. If you want to draw a heart. When I do right, I know. Now, if you have extra time, we can change this up. So another one to make it a little harder, if that's a little too easy for your primary. Mine was fine with that because I have a young primary. But if this is too easy, let's go a little faster with our double time with our taps. Faith is knowing the sun will rise, lighting each new day. Faith is knowing the Lord will hear my prayers each time I pray. Faith is like a little seed. If planted, it will grow. Faith is a swelling within my heart. When I do right, I know. Very good. And if you want to level up even again, if you have extra time, what I really wanted to do, that I ran out of time for, was to have them turn around to the back of the room. So everyone can turn around, and I would run to the back of the room so they could see me. And remember, they just have tiny little sticks. So this really only works if they have popsicle sticks or pencils, something that is quieter. These are too loud for what I would do, because we're going to tap on the chair. can you tap on your chair when we tap instead of tapping it together? And so when these two were tapped together, they were very quiet. And so I thought it would be fun to make a little bit more noise on their chair. And so if we did that, it'd be, so that, faith is knowing the sun will rise, lighting each new day. Faith is knowing the Lord will hear my prayers each time I pray. Faith is like a little seed. If planted, it will grow. Faith is a swelling within my heart. When I do right, I know. That was for junior primary. For senior primary, I wanted something a little harder, and so I did the same intro with singing the prophet said to plant a garden. But then our first song for Follow the Prophet, they've sung it a lot, but we wanted to review. So here I say, okay, we are splitting into two teams. All right, down the middle, this is the first team, this is the second team. You guys are blue, you guys are orange. And I split up our verse of the song. Honestly, it would be better if you had a computer to change the font to a different color, but I had already written out my song on a piece of paper and I didn't want to rewrite it or retype it. So I just put these dots because I had them up. So I said, okay, this is blue, this is orange, and they would just go back and forth. So it's Joseph was a prophet, first one in our day. He saw God in Jesus when he went to pray. He prayed with great faith to know which church was true. Jesus said to join, then truth shall come through you. And eventually I could get to the point where I didn't sing at all, and I just directed them back and forth because it took a few times to them to get the rhythm. And then I say, all right, oh, this side won, or, I say which side is doing better, and then I say, okay, well, let's make it fair. Let's switch colors. So now you guys are orange and you guys are blue. You're going to start. And so then we do it again, switching. And then, as I said before, we do the sign language for follow the prophet for the chorus. My senior primary knows the first verse of Faith pretty well. So we worked on the second verse, and I wanted to do this activity, so we didn't even go through the full verse because we were short on time, but we just did the first phrase. And I wanted something that had to do with the food, and so I got a big, long snake of Play-Doh. I made homemade Play-Doh. I made a long snake of it, and then I put the words of the first phrase of the song in here. So, faith is knowing I lived with God before my mortal birth of the second verse. And I put it in with toothpicks. And this picture's a little bit deceiving because I took this afterwards, but it's just one long snake of Play-Doh. And I said, we are going to play Chop the Phrase. And so every time we sang it, so we'd say, faith is knowing I lived with God before my mortal birth. And then again, this is when I use the super singers. I say, okay, have a super singer ready, teachers. And I'd get a super singer, and they'd come up, and they'd take a knife, which I just had a very dull butter knife, that they would come up, and they would chop the Play-Doh, and then I'd take it off. If you notice, this is on our windowsill, or you could use a table or whatever. I wanted them to be able to see it, and I have a big primary, so I had to put it up high. And so they chop that, and so then that is no longer there. I take it away. And then we sing again. Faith is knowing I lived with God before my mortal. Go. And so it practices cutting off, not extending, and then I get another super singer, and we go, 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 until at the end where we say, I say, start strong. This is our primary program song. We're getting to the point where we have to practice faith. And they just sang that really well. And I said, oh, that was a beautiful start. That was a beautiful finish. Sing just like that in the primary program. For our last song, Seek the Lord Early, we are going to do something that you're really going to have to think about. We're going to clap every time we say a personal pronoun. I, me, my, our. So it might go like this. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth, and he will help me to know the truth. I'll search the scriptures and find him there. Then go to our Father in fervent prayer. I'll seek the Lord early and I'll obey his living prophets in all they say. I'll keep his commandments, his love will abound. I will seek the Lord early and he will be found. Hopefully I did that right. So then I say, all right, we're gonna level up. Oh, and then I think I had him pick a vegetable in between. I was doing the activity with pick a vegetable, match it to the seed. And so then I had someone pick, and then I'm like, all right, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna level up. And so for this time, in addition to clapping on the personal pronouns, we are going to stand up and point whenever we talk about Heavenly Father, Jesus, him, because he is up in heaven, so we're indicating up there. Now there's a tricky part in the song where it talks about the prophet in all, or living prophets in all he says. Is that talking about Heavenly Father and Jesus? No. Is the prophet the same as Heavenly Father? No. And also, when I did seek the Lord early in junior primary, it was also good to ask some directed listening questions. Who's he? Heavenly Father, yes. Who do I find in the scriptures? Jesus. And so I asked some questions to keep their interest engaged. Okay, so let's see if I can do this right. I messed up a few times. So to keep track of all the I's. I'll seek the Lord early while in my youth, and he will help me to know the truth. I'll search the scriptures and find him there. Then go to our Father in fervent prayer. I'll seek the Lord early and I'll obey his living prophets in all they say. I'll keep his commandments, his love will abound. I will seek the Lord early and he will be found. And you can repeat that a few times with however many things you have left in your garden. And it was a lot of fun and got the senior primary thinking and moving. Thanks for singing with me.